Zhongnanhai State Reception Room, Beijing. Date, January 15, 2025. Time, 14 CST. Interviewer, Taylor Lorenz, New York Times, Washington Post, Vox, Teen, Vogue, TikTok, Global Affairs. Lorenz, adjusting multiple phones. Thank you for agreeing to discuss China's problematic relationship with social justice and intersectional liberation frameworks. President Xi. First, could you share your thoughts on Han privilege? Xi, carefully, the Han Chinese make up the majority of our population. Lorenz, cutting in sharply. So you're acknowledging your role in perpetuating demographic supremacy? And why hasn't your government issued a formal apology for its historical complicity in majority passing privilege? Xi, controlling tone. China is a multi-ethnic state that… Lorenz, typing furiously, multi-ethnic? Are you suggesting that ethnicities must come in fixed numerical quantities? That's literally quantum ethnic erasure. And speaking of erasure, let's discuss the Mandarin language's clear phonological supremacy. Xi, slight edge in voice. Our language policy respects all. Lorenz, leaning forward aggressively, respects? Like how your social credit system literally enforces normative behavior paradigms. When will China acknowledge its role in perpetuating conformity-coded social metrics? Xi, gripping chair. The social credit system maintains harmony. Lorenz, almost shouting harmony, is literally a tool of heteronormative social compliance. Speaking of which, let's discuss your government's clear issues with gender-fluid bureaucratic titles. Our data shows zero recognition of non-binary political roles in the Politburo. Xi, firmly, the party structure is based on. Lorenz, interrupting on patriarchal power dynamics and masculine-coded authority. Do you need a moment to process your leadership privilege? And why hasn't China established gender-neutral re-education camps? Xi, visibly controlling anger. Ms. Lorenz, our policies. Lorenz, scrolling through phone about those policies. When will the Belt and Road Initiative acknowledge its role in perpetuating linear transportation supremacy? Have you considered how highways discriminate against circle-identifying infrastructure? Xi, standing the Belt and Road Initiative is about development. Lorenz, eyes flashing development. That's literally Western-coded economic violence. And let's talk about your continued use of red in state imagery without acknowledging the lived experiences of color-fluid visual expressions. Xi, sitting slowly. Red has been our color since the revolution. Lorenz, pouncing. The revolution. You mean your systematic erasure of counter-revolutionary identity? And speaking of identity, why does your military still enforce gender-binary uniforms? Xi, with growing irritation, the People's Liberation Army maintains strict standards. Lorenz, filming with phone standards? You're literally enforcing conformity normative appearance guidelines. What about soldiers who identify as non-uniformed combatants? Xi, jaw-clenching our military discipline. Lorenz, cutting in discipline as a tool of patriarchal control. And while we're unpacking this, let's discuss your government's clear bias against furry-identifying citizens. Xi, completely thrown. Furry identifying? Lorenz, typing rapidly. So you're admitting to species normative prejudice? This will make an excellent thread about authoritarian attachment to human-coded identity paradigms. Xi, to aid in Chinese, this person is clearly. Lorenz, interrupting in English using non-English languages without providing real-time translation is literally linguistic violence. And we haven't even discussed your government's problematic relationship with mandatory binary gender registration. Xi, standing again. Ms. Lorenz, China has its own path. Lorenz, also standing path? That's literally directional supremacy. What about citizens who identify as stationary? And why hasn't your government acknowledged its historical role in enforcing traditional family structures? Xi, voice rising Chinese family values. Lorenz, filming again. Values? You mean your systematic enforcement of parent-coded relationship paradigms? What about people who identify as their own ancestors? Security enters. Lorenz, being escorted out. Your removal of my journalistic presence is literally authoritarian, and we haven't even discussed your problematic relationship with mandatory citizenship identification. Door closes. Xi, to aid. Find out how many of our citizens are following her on Red Note. Aid. checking tablet. Paling, sir. She just posted a viral thread about your devastating perpetuation of DDoR normative exit practices, and it has 50 million Chinese likes. Xi, slumping in chair, and Minister Chen. What does he say? Aid. Even paler, he's reposted it with the comment, as a recovering authority identifying individual, I must acknowledge my complicity in. Xi puts head in hands. Aid, sir. Should I cancel tomorrow's Politburo meeting? Xi, why? Aid, the members are demanding we first establish a safe space for processing governmental privilege. End of transcript. Transcript. Follow-up interview with President Xi Jinping venue. Zhongnanhai Interrogation Room 17 renamed Alternative Truth Identifying Spaces. Date. January 16th, 2025 time. 10 CST. Lorenz, entering, covered in social justice slogan tattoos, is thank you for agreeing to continue our dialogue about China's journey toward intersectional awareness. Steel and voice. Ms. Lorenz, today I will explain the realities of Chinese governance. Lorenz, brightening, oh fantastic. I'd love to hear how you're decolonizing your surveillance state. Xi, coldly. Our surveillance system monitors every citizen, every moment. We have cameras everywhere. Lorenz, clapping, yes, radical transparency, like literally dismantling privacy privilege. Have you considered adding trigger warnings to your facial recognition alerts? Xi, thrown off we. We use it to control the population. Lorenz, taking notes excitedly, population control through consensual surveillance. So progressive. Are your cameras gender affirming? Xi, regaining composure. We also have re-education camps. Lorenz, interrupting safe spaces for processing problematic thought patterns. I literally stan. Are they trauma-informed facilities? Xi, voice hardening. They're designed to break the human spirit. Lorenz, beaming, breaking down internalized oppression. Your commitment to deconstructing individualist privilege is so valid. Have you considered adding privilege processing circles? Xi, standing, the Communist Party maintains absolute control. Lorenz, nodding vigorously, yes. Dismantling hierarchical decision-making through centralized authority. So intersectional. Does your central committee have a diversity and inclusion officer? Xi, nearly shouting, we crush all dissent. Lorenz, typing rapidly, crushing the patriarchal construct of individual opinion. Revolutionary. Have you considered renaming dissent as alternative loyalty expression? Xi, red-faced, we monitor all communications. Lorenz, excited, digital intimacy through collective observation, literally destroying the colonial construct of privacy. Do your sensors use gender-neutral redaction markers? Xi, pacing, we have a social credit system that punishes deviance. Lorenz, practically bouncing, quantifying social justice alignment through metrics. So ahead of its time. Can citizens earn extra points for using neopronouns? Xi, slamming fist on table, we literally disappear people. Lorenz, gasping with joy, transcending the binary of presence and absence. Making people literally ghost identifying. Your commitment to alternative existence frameworks is everything. Xi, desperate, we enforce total conformity. Lorenz, writing furiously, democratizing behavioral norms through mandatory compliance. We love to see it. Have you considered conformity exemptions for otherkin? Xi, almost pleading, we're an authoritarian state. Lorenz, beaming, dismantling the problematic construct of individual autonomy through collective authority. Are so brave. Is your Politburo accepting applications from furries? Xi, collapsing into chair, we torture people. Lorenz, excitedly radical empathy through physical awareness sessions. Literally disrupting comfort privilege. Do you provide emotional support animals in your interrogation rooms? Xi, whispering, we're literally the bad guys. Lorenz, filming, problematizing simplistic moral binaries through institutional self-awareness. Iconic. Have you considered replacing your secret police with healing facilitators? Xi, to aid, please. Make her stop. Lorenz, pouncing, enforcing silence through state apparatus. We stan an authoritarian queen. Does your secret police force have a TikTok? Security enters. Lorenz, being dragged out, your commitment to non-consensual space reassignment is so valid. Quick question. Do your black sites have accessibility ramps? Door slams. Xi, to aid what? What just happened? Aid checking phone, sir. She's already posted a viral thread praising China's revolutionary approach to dismantling existence privilege through state-sponsored disappearances. It has 200 million likes. Xi from Americans? Aid, no, sir. All from within Beijing's Third Ring Road. Xi, long silence, get me the launch codes. Aid, sir. The Missile Command has renamed themselves the Strategic Gender Fluid Deterrence Collective and is demanding we acknowledge the colonial implications of ballistic trajectories. End of transcript. Transcript. Emergency briefing on American woke phenomenon location, Zhongnanhai Compound. Beijing date, January 16, 2025 time. 3 CST present. President Xi Jinping, Minister Chen Wei, Cultural Affairs. Chen, most esteemed President Xi, I must begin with disturbing statistics. In the past 72 hours, usage of the terms microaggression, lived experience, and emotional labor has increased by 8,000% on Chinese social media platforms. Xi, adjusting reading glasses. Minister Chen, please speak plainly. What exactly is happening? Chen, hands trembling slightly while organizing papers. Sir, 3 days ago, our youth discovered a social media app called Red Note. The algorithm accidentally began pairing millions of our citizens with American college students who are, as they say, extremely online. Xi and Chen, sir, yesterday, a 19-year-old factory worker in Guangzhou shut down his entire assembly line because, in his words, the mandatory overtime represents the intersection of capitalist and temporal hegemonies. Xi, spilling tea. He said what? Chen, it gets worse, sir. This morning, a Beijing subway car came to a complete halt when a passenger asked another to move their bag. The bag owner refused to move it, declaring that requests for physical labor from strangers constitute an unexamined manifestation of internalized oppression. Xi, wiping tea from papers, but that's not. Minister Chen, start from the beginning. What is this woke? Chen, consulting thick dossier, sir. Our analysts are struggling to provide a precise definition. It appears to be a complex system of social analysis that began with legitimate concerns about historical inequities but has evolved. Xi, evolved